definitely join me in congratulating Ellie for being February's Member of the Month. Woo! So Ellie, congratulations.
Thanks. Very exciting.
Oh yeah, it's a great honor, right?
Yes, I was excited when I got the text message.
Yeah.
Dang.
So tell the people a little bit about yourself. What do you want the people to know?
The people to know.
Yes.
Well, I am 4'11" and 3/4, and the 3/4 is very important because I'm closer to 5 than 4'11". I am 32, which is a great age, I think, in my prime.
Mm-hmm.
I work at Wake Tech as a biology professor, so that's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm from New York originally. I got down to Raleigh last April.
Okay.
And I love it here. It's probably my favorite place that I've lived.
Really?
Yeah, it has a lot of the components from other places that I've lived all in one city. So it's a nice place to live. I like it.
What are the components that you've seen from other places that you like that are here?
So my favorite stuff that they have here are like the greenways, especially because there's so much of the greenway that just weaves through all of the different areas. There's like a dozen dog parks, which is great because I have 3 dogs.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of like focus on things for the community. So like Dorothea Dix and like just all different types of things that people can do for free.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
Yeah. So where all have you lived?
Oh my goodness, I've lived so many places. So I'm originally from New York. I've lived in Florida, Pennsylvania, Washington State, Washington, D.C., South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas. And I think that's all of them.
Oh, jeez. And you liked Raleigh the most so far?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I plan on going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Cool. I definitely wouldn't ever want to go back up to New York, right?
No,
it's way
very
too cold.
It's so cold.
Yeah, no, thank you for that.
Yeah.
But then, so what's kind of forced you to move around everywhere? Was that like just you being in the military and stuff, or?
We moved around a lot when I was a kid, just for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the time I graduated high school, we had lived in like 30 different places. Yeah, there's a lot of places. And then as an adult, the military, I was stationed in Washington State. I spent some time in Chicago for boot camp. I spent some time in Florida for like my training.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the military, just kind of going around and seeing what I liked in DC for a little bit. Went back home to New York. Went to Texas for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then ended up down here.
Nice. And then so what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Navy.
Nice.
Yeah. Hoo-yah.
Awesome. And so kind of, is that how you got into fitness and everything like that? It was through the military and prepping for boot camp and stuff, or was that just like a...
No, actually, I always wish that I was as in shape now then, because I think that I would have... So I wanted to go special ops, but I just was not in shape enough to do that. And I think now with how much shape I'm in, I probably could have like kicked butt on that test.
Like
to
the
get
test
in.
or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't as in shape. I always liked fitness type stuff, but I just never really did much of anything with it. Besides like the normal neighborhood stuff, like, you know, playing football in the street or playing softball or wiffle ball.
Like just your community things or
Yeah,
whatever.
you know, like manhunt with all the people in the neighborhood, stuff
Yeah.
like that. I didn't actually get into like real fitness or CrossFit until I was like 28, 29.
Okay.
So it's been like 5 years. My math isn't good, but I think that's about 5 years.
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere
Close
around
enough.
there. I think
Close
it's like
enough.
4 years.
Yeah, 4.5. 4 3/4. Right?
Yeah, exactly. 4'11" and 3/4.
Awesome. And then how long have you been coming to TCF?
So I actually, when I first moved down here, I was shocked at how many CrossFit gyms there were.
Yeah.
Because when I was living in Pennsylvania, there were only like 3
two?
options. Yeah, there were 2 until my boss opened a third one, and that was the one that I ended up joining. So there were so many options that I ended up just bouncing around and trying all different types of gyms out in the area. And I had actually, I think you remember this, I had come to one of the free weeks, the Bring a Friend week last year. And I really liked it here. I felt that it was similar to the first gym that I went to, where it was very community based and like there was the option to push yourself and be competitive, but it wasn't the expectation. So any fitness level can come in and enjoy themselves, but if you wanted to try to push your limits, you could. And so I like that because it's more about just, you know, being here, being together. And so I always liked that, but I wasn't ready to commit because I knew I didn't have the schedule to really come a few times a week. So it wasn't until I transitioned into teaching 3 minutes down the road at Wake Tech.
Very convenient.
Yeah, exactly. That it worked out perfectly because this was my favorite of the gyms I tried, and it's only 3 minutes from work, which makes it really easy for me to get here.
Oh, yeah.
So that was when I joined. So it was like August, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Somewhere around there.
August, September.
You went on the little thing. You said August, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I put the shrug emoji
It's like,
too, just
possibly.
to really sell the point home that I have no idea.
Yeah. There you go. And then, have you been teaching for a while, or is this kind of like a new thing that you're doing?
So I started teaching as an adjunct. I called it my side hustle. So like I worked full time in research, and then part time I would teach. So it was mostly online because I started doing it during COVID. And then when I moved down here, I continued to do that with Wake Tech as an adjunct professor, and I worked full time in RTP. But I had always wanted to transition into full time teaching. And so I finally did that this summer. And then, so my side hustle came my full-time
Your
gig.
full hustle.
Yeah, exactly, my full hustle. So, yeah.
And have you enjoyed it so far?
Oh, I love it. It's the greatest. Very happy with it.
I couldn't imagine teaching college or anything like that.
I couldn't imagine teaching K through 12. I don't have to deal with parents in college, and at least for the most part, everybody's an adult. So.
Well, hopefully you don't have to deal with parents. You probably have like the few or wherever they'll reach out and be like, why's my kid not doing well in your class?
Yeah, actually, I did have one parent try to reach out once, but we're not allowed to talk to them, which is nice. So I can just say, sorry, like, your child's an adult, so I'd be violating
really?
HIPAA. Yeah, so it's nice.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I got to talk through your kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And then, so I know something that you've talked about and do a lot of is these different kind of competitions, races. You've run marathons or half marathons?
I ran my first half marathon in November.
Okay. And then like you did the CrossFit competition, and I think you've done some previous and stuff. What all have you done, and why do you do them?
So when I first started getting active again, I started with CrossFit. And if I showed you the pictures of like how I showed up to these classes, I had like a band on either side for my elbows. I had like knee braces. I had like a back brace thing.
So you come in like looking like a robot or a cyborg or something like that?
And a lot of times, because I had come in with previous injuries and I had never done any activity like that, I wouldn't even actually do the class at the gym. I would say, I can't do any of this stuff. And they'd be like, okay, you can do these things. And I would like work out on the side next to like the rest of the class.
You'd be in the timeout corner.
Yeah, right? And so eventually I got strong enough where I could then like do what the rest of the class was doing. And I wouldn't always finish. And I would say like, okay, I did as many rounds as I could. Like, I'm okay with just like stopping so I don't hurt myself.
Right.
And so like once I started to get more fit, like I wanted to see where am I with my fitness. The very first 5K I did, I walked the whole thing. It took me like 45 minutes because I couldn't run it. And then eventually I started trying to run 5Ks. And then I started doing CrossFit competitions, and this was back in Pennsylvania. My first one I did was a 4-person competition, and the only goal I had was to finish and hopefully not get in last. And we didn't. We got second to last.
There you go.
And then the next one I did, same goal, was I just want to finish, but it would be nice if we weren't in last. And we weren't in last, so that was great. And for a long time, my goal was always just to finish. And it was never like, I don't care like if I'm competitive, like I just want to know that I can do it. And so I took some time off from races and competitions And last year I did my first race again. I did the City of Oaks 10K. And again, my goal was to just finish. And then I did the Tar Heel 10 in April, and that was the longest distance I had ever done.
And was that 10 miles?
10 miles.
Oh,
and again, my goal was to just finish. And so coming into this season of races and competitions, which, because I don't do anything in the summer, it's too hot. I had actual goals where I was like, I want to, like, this is where I want to be. These are my benchmarks. And so coming here so frequently is actually what got me to be strong enough to meet and even like pass those benchmarks.
Yeah.
So this year I did a trail run. It was a 6-mile trail run. It was my first trail run. And I did a lot better than I expected to. And then I did my half marathon, which I beat my training time.
Nice.
So that was very exciting. And then I did the Spartan with you guys, which I thought was going to be so difficult, and I was surprised at how easy it was.
Just more fun than anything, right?
Yeah, and I think I don't give myself credit for how strong I am, and a lot of that comes from coming here so frequently, and like you don't realize how well a lot of the movements that we do translates into like everyday stuff. And then I did the competition.
Yep.
And with each one, I did a lot better than I had expected to do. And I kind of went into it trying to challenge myself as opposed to just finishing it.
Right.
And so, you know, for me, it's about kind of like, I want to see what I can do. Like, I want to see what is my body capable of, and like, where am I in my fitness journey? And I think too, like, having something to train for keeps me accountable in my fitness. Like, if there wasn't a reason for me to like come 4 times a week, I wouldn't. Right. So like, it keeps me like, this is what I have to do. So I have to come here and I have to like stay with my programming.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh crap, I got this competition coming up, or I got this race coming up, and it's like, I got to be ready for it.
Right.
It can't be slacking or anything.
Right. Yes. So I already have signed up for all my stuff for the new year. So I'm ready to get back into my competition mindset and
mode
back into,
or whatever.
yeah, back into my routine.
Yeah, there you go. And then it's cool because it's giving you, like you said, those things to look for, to train for, the extra little bit of motivation. Let's say when it is maybe get too cold, or when it's getting dark outside early or whatever, it's keeping you, maybe it's a long day, it's keeping you kind of accountable in a way.
Yeah.
Right? Along with coming to the classes, seeing the people and everything, that holds you accountable to yourself, because you want to improve on the stuff you did last year and the stuff you did before that, and keep those times or placements improving, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also too, like, if my body is not in the right shape when I do these things, I'm going to hurt myself. And so the biggest thing is making sure that my body is actually at a place to do these things. And that's one of the things I love about CrossFit, is that it's a full body workout. And so, you know, training for my half marathon, I only ran once a week. I didn't even run that much. It was doing all of the lifts and everything else that really strengthened my body. And like, I would start to say, because I was running with people from the gym, we would hold each other accountable. Where I started to notice that in my run, I was activating muscles that I didn't even know would help with my run. Different parts of like my glutes and, you know, my hamstrings and all these other things. And a lot of that came from being so aware of them in my lifts and my squats and in other things, that I just got to know my body better, and I was able to run longer, and it didn't hurt as much because of the strengthening that I did here.
Just like that body awareness and the kind of the mind muscle connection and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good, and hopefully that continues, and
Right.
you just are able to be stronger in those areas, and you keep kind of bulletproofing yourself,
Yeah.
so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So you hopefully, knock on wood,
Right.
no one get injured or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, knocking on it a bunch of times.
Knock on wood. You know, they say in the UK, they say touch wood, and you touch your head. Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's like there's nothing in between your ears but wood. Yeah.
Well, I knew they said touch wood, but I didn't know that's why they would touch in their head or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird saying, honestly,
It's like,
but you know.
Yeah. And so, kind of speaking of all the things that you like to do, apparently you're known for having a lot of different training shoes.
Yeah, which I didn't
So-
know. That's kind of fun. I like that people look at my feet enough to know that.
Yeah, apparently, because coaches and stuff kind of come up with some questions as well, and then like all the coaches were like, "Oh yeah, ask her about our shoes." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. So having had my previous injuries and coming into working out, when I first started doing CrossFit, because there's all these different components to it, like some days you're running and some days you're lifting, I just started to notice that I was getting a lot of pain in my feet and in my, shin splints and my legs. And I just kind of realized that like everything starts at your feet. And that's the most important thing in any of these movements that I'm doing, whether I'm here training or I'm running, or even if I'm like doing yoga or something. The most important thing is really starting at the bottom. And so, shoes is the one thing that I'm willing to spend the money on, because some of these shoes are very expensive.
Yeah.
But it's the most important thing. If you're not wearing the right shoes, you're just going to hurt everything on your way up. So, I have my shoes that I wear when we're doing lifting, or there's a lot of like strengthening components like my Reeboks, right? And then I have my running shoes that I wear if we're doing a lot of running around the building. I have my 5-finger shoes that I love, and I swear by those.
Yeah.
And they actually, I really like those because they strengthen your feet muscles, right? So that gives you more dexterity. And again, that is really helpful in a lot of these lifts that we do, where you're really having to start from your feet. And then running, of course, is like, being able to really use the muscles in your feet as an asset, as opposed to just hitting the ground with them.
Yep.
So I have my trail running shoes. Obviously, I need a pair of those. And then I have, I probably have like 4 different pairs of running shoes, depending on the terrain that I'm in. A couple of different lifting shoes. My 5-finger shoes.
Just going through like the whole entire closet.
I'm like visualizing
my
closet, and there's just like so many different types of shoes, and they're all fitness shoes mostly. I don't have as many like regular
dress shoes or whatever
shoes. Yeah, regular people.
What we need to do is have like a Ellie shoe review.
Yeah, absolutely. I got you on that for sure. Yeah.
You just bring in your shoes and stuff like that. So I like this for this purpose.
Yeah. Well, I have like short distance running shoes. I have long distance running shoes. My trail runners.
Oh, geez.
My lifters.
So I have like one pair of shoes and that's it.
Yeah. Well, to each their own, right? Like,
use it for everything.
Yeah.
It's a utility shoe.
Yeah.
But I guess like, have you ever seen the stuff where they go into with the Vibrams? Where they talk about most people's shoes, they push their toes together and squeeze everything together, and that's like the exact opposite that you want to do. You want to expand your toes, use your whole foot, like talk about trying to have like as little support as possible.
Yeah.
Things like that. I mean, that's just an interesting concept, because you want that wide toe box, so their feet are naturally meant to be wider. If you're wanting to actually be able to use everything like you talked about, be as like want to walk around barefoot, so to speak.
And you have to really build into it, because if you're like, you look at all the shoes that I started with, they were so like, there was so much. You had a mattress like about that big? Yeah, really. And I slowly started to move down in thickness and support, because the stronger my feet got, the less support I needed. It actually started to hurt. And so even with
it started to hurt wearing those big shoes?
Yeah, too much support started to hurt. And so with the 5 fingers, I actually started only using them when I was doing yard work. And so I was, that's actually how I brought my fitness back up over the summer to even be able to get back into CrossFit, was just doing so much manual labor in the yard. And a lot of that, like, picking things up, I knew the proper form to do it because of,
people are looking at you and they're like, this lady is doing some weird stuff outside.
Yeah. So I started with them in the yard, and then I started walking with them, but not long distances. So like going into the Tar Heel 10 that I did, I wore my 5 fingers the whole morning to just kind of like stretch my feet out, but then I put on my running shoes. And then eventually, the stronger my feet got and the more used to that form that they got, I started to up it. So I have like my 5 fingers that I wore a lot in CrossFit that I really liked. And then I bought a running pair. And so, but I don't run long distances in them because my feet aren't at that point yet.
And that's a lot of pounding with no support at all.
It is. Yeah. It definitely is.
Yeah, but I mean, it's cool. Like, it's like a tool belt or whatever that you have all these shoes, and like you said, taking care of the roots or whatever of your body, so that then the rest of it is feeling good and performing well.
Yeah.
Stuff. So I know you have all these different types of shoes, and I was also, well, you kind of told me to ask about your impressions and everything.
Oh yes,
So-
my impressions.
So what's your best impression?
My best impression. Okay, so tell you what, I'll do it, and
Uh-huh.
you tell me if you can guess what it is.
Oh, I'm gonna be terrible at this, but okay.
I think you'll figure it out.
Okay.
I would be surprised if you couldn't.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Yep. Oh, I have no idea what is
Come
that.
on, you gotta know what that is.
Uh,
It's a dolphin.
I was thinking of like a character or something like that. But yeah, I knew that was okay. Okay, I thought I was gonna say like Free Willy or something like that.
Oh, no, he's a whale.
They're both porpoise, porpoise, or whatever.
Okay.
So
yeah.
so like, do you practice those on a regular basis?
I don't. It just comes naturally. I don't know. I think from like evolution or something. No, I'm kidding.
In your past life, you were a dolphin.
Yes. No. I don't know. My sister had this like Barbie accessory thing. It was a dolphin, and when you press the top fin, it would make that noise, and it's just always stayed in my head. So every once in a while, I'll bust it out just to like mess with people. I think I've done it a few times at the gym.
As you're lifting or whatever, and people are like, what?
Yeah, and then I have my Johnny Bravo impression for anybody who's old enough to know who Johnny Bravo is.
Like you're talking about the cartoon character with the big
With the
hair?
big, yeah, with the
Yeah,
big
all right,
hair.
what you
yeah.
got?
Okay. Hair, pretty mama. Right?
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I loved watching that cartoon as a kid.
Yeah, and then it's the same voice, like, so then Elvis sounds exactly the same, so technically I can do Elvis too, right? Because it's like the same voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you sing like actual Elvis songs with that impression or no? You haven't tried that yet?
I guess I could.
Go to
I don't know.
karaoke and sing some Elvis songs or whatever.
Well, so the lead singer of Pearl Jam also has a similar voice, so I kind of feel like it just that impression covers all three.
So you can do Dolphins, and then you can do Elvis
And Johnny Bravo.
and John Bravo
Yes.
and lead singer of Pearl Jam.
Yeah, so I do that one at karaoke. Yeah.
Oh God.
We should have a karaoke party at the gym.
Jess would be all over that if we did that. Cool. Yeah, maybe in the future we'll see what happens. But Johnny Bravo has to show up if we do that.
That's fine. I'll even come in the whole getup.
I have put your hair up in I don't even know what the heck he's got. He's got like this weird tall thing or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like a big
Like just
blonde.
straight up.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna have to dye your hair blonde if you do that.
I would probably just get a wig.
Lord. And so kind of talking about the gym and stuff. What was your biggest challenge prior to joining the TCF family?
So, definitely finding the time to stay consistent. To me, it's a commitment. And if I knew I couldn't make the commitment, there was no point in signing up. And with working 2 jobs, it was honestly just, there was not enough time in the day. So it was really when I made that transition into full-time teaching that I finally had the time to really commit to it. And so, making that transition, and just knowing that, like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick with it. And so finding that time was really important. Yeah.
Yeah. And then kind of like how'd that make you feel with the challenge and everything?
Well, it was difficult to, not be in physical health, right? So, like, for me, I'm not somebody who can just, like, go to a gym and, like, go through a workout.
Yeah.
Like, I won't do that.
A little bit
I
of
won't
guidance.
show up. Yeah, I need to, like, show up and have somebody be like, this is what we're doing. You're going to do it, and then you're going to be done. So I come into CrossFit, I work out for an hour, I get a whole body workout, I feel good afterwards, and then I go home. As opposed to having to come up with my own programming and, just, like, I'm not that person. I need that structure, like, you tell me what to do, that military kind of, structure.
Yeah.
So for me, CrossFit is, like, the one thing that I want to do. So just having that time. So I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel, I was in pain a lot from not having that strength throughout my body, and just, it was definitely a struggle to not be at any kind of fitness level, really.
Mm-hmm. And then that all changed after joining the TCF family, right?
Well, I did just run my first half marathon, so I'd say so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the recovery wasn't even as bad as I thought it would be.
But just more like the pounding on the pavement, just kind of recovering feet-wise?
Honestly, it was my knees that hurt the most after that. I felt fine for the first 10 miles, and then it was the last 3 miles that, like, was a struggle.
God, I couldn't even imagine running that far.
Yeah, as I was like coming down the hill to cross the finish line, I'm pretty sure I blacked out at some point. Like, I was just like, I don't even know what's happening.
I don't even remember the last 3 miles, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You just remember the 10-mile marker, and all of a sudden there's the finish line. You're like,
yeah.
I
actually, so after the half marathon, like after I crossed the finish line, I didn't want to stop because like I had been moving for so long because it was like 2 hours and 24 minutes or something of running. And I was so delirious and out of it that it was kind of like, you know, like coming in and out of like a blackout or something. And so I was like,
just,
yeah, so I'm like walking around and I see all these people with bananas and I'm starving at this point. So I'm literally just like, anytime I see somebody with a banana, I like grab their shoulder and I'm like, where did you get that banana? And they're like, I don't know, over there. And I'm just like randomly walking up to people and like stopping them.
Can I have your banana?
Yeah, like, I need this banana. Where is it? And I spent like 15 minutes doing that before I finally found it. But it was definitely an experience.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So after joining the TCF family, you were able to run the marathon, and were there any other like positive impact, or half marathon? Were there any other positive impacts that you've seen or anything?
Yeah, so and I make this joke a lot, but it's, you know, it's difficult making friends in your 30s, especially when you live in a new city. Mm-hmm. You know, there's not that, you know, high school friends that you've known your whole life or whatever. Mm-hmm.
And especially if you moved to 30 different cities by the time you graduated high school.
Exactly. So, you know, even though I had been here for a year, I hadn't really made a whole lot of friends. I, you know, was friends with my neighbors and some coworkers, but nobody that really shared the interest of fitness that I have. And so, you know, coming here, it was like immediately people, you know, were like just so friendly. I mean, even people remembered me from when I had come the previous year to try it out, which I thought was crazy. They were like, "Oh, hey, I remember you when you came last year," and I'm like, "Wow. Like, that's kind of cool," you know. So now, you know, it's like Coach Nina is trying to get me to sign up for the half Ironman, which she's successfully convinced me to do.
Oh God.
So thanks for that. You know, and just some of the other members, you know, going for runs during the week, or even like just hanging out, going to the ballet together or something, and just kind of keeping that support system to help reach whatever our fitness goals are. You know, like I had a friend from the gym who came with me for my runs leading up to the half marathon, and she wasn't signed up for anything, but you know, she helped keep me accountable. And so just kind of having a positive influence of people in your life that have common goals, and you know, it's really important. And it definitely makes it easier for me to reach my goals, having that support system.
Kind of that community of people pushing you, supporting you and stuff. I mean, it allows you to do things that you never thought you could do, like the half Ironman, or something like that, right? Or start training for something like that. It's like, whoa, I don't know if I can do that. But then with that support group and everything, we can kind of push you towards that.
Yeah, even like leading up to the competition, the CrossFit competition, I was coming to the open gym every Tuesday before the 4:30 class, and then doing the 4:30 class to work on some of my movements, most specifically my snatch, right? Because I don't know, like you would think because I'm so close to the ground that it would be easier for me to just dip under the bar.
But apparently not.
No, it's terrifying. The heavier the weight gets, the more like the scarier it is. So I would just sit here for like 45 minutes. Well, not sit, but just repeatedly trying to pull it up. And, you know, having usually during the open gym, there's a few coaches here. And so just getting all this different feedback of how I could do better. And so, you know, in that competition, I ended up hitting a new PR where, you know, I had been training with 70 pounds, and I would try to get to the 75, and that 5-pound difference makes such a difference, which is so silly to me. and I just like couldn't consistently get it up. And then during the competition, I just knocked it up 3 times, and I was like, oh my God, I did it. You know?
You couldn't even get it up once, and then all of a sudden you were able to do it 3 times.
Yeah. So it's cool to be able to come and really get that from everybody here.
Yeah. I mean, anything else that you want to add, or anything that you want to tell somebody that's on the fence about joining?
So my biggest thing is just, everybody's afraid of CrossFit. They think that like, oh, everybody gets injured and it's so intense, and it's like, it doesn't have to be intense, Like I said, when I first started, I wasn't even doing the actual workouts with the rest of the class. I was doing whatever modifications that my body could handle. And I think the most important thing is having the right environment, the right coaches, and the right, the right people at the gym that have your best interest in mind, where it's like they don't want you to push yourself. They want you to just do what you can do.
Push yourself in the right ways and the appropriate ways that are for you at that point in time.
Right. Yeah. And so, it's about being really conscious of your own body and knowing what your limits are and being comfortable enough to stay within them, right? And it can be difficult when you see 5 other people and they're lifting heavier than you, or they're moving through it faster, and so you want to be able to match that, right? And I think that's when people end up getting hurt, when they push themselves in a way that they really shouldn't. But if you come into it, knowing where you are and knowing that it may take you longer to get to where everybody else is, and being okay with that, there's a huge benefit to coming to CrossFit. It's like I said, it's a full body workout. You're coming in and you're getting that strengthening, and even just with like the lifts, like really learning that form gives you better posture, and like teaches you how to properly lift the 40-pound dog food bag because you have 3 dogs like I do.
Or do yard work.
Do yard work, right? So just give it a shot. And I think that a lot of people who come in with that mindset and give themselves the chance to work up to where they want to be, I think will be really happy with the results.
Oh yeah, you gotta come in, have your blinders on, so to speak.
Exactly.
Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Focus on you, and do your best.
Yeah, and be willing to take a step back if you have to. Like I may be able to, on my best days, lift a certain weight or knock out a workout really easily, but if I know that I'm not feeling top form, I gotta do those modifications and not feel like, not beat myself up over it, listen to my body, because in the long run it's going to be better for me.
100%. Yeah. Because, and then something that changes like day to day, right? Maybe today is a really stressful, long day for you, and then you come in after work. You can't expect yourself to hit that 75-pound snatch, right? Maybe it happens just out of the blue, but it's like, give yourself a little bit of grace, and again, focus on what you can do, right? Even blinders as in other people, and also as in what you maybe could have done in the past if you aren't feeling the 100% or something like that, like you talked about.
Stay in the present, right? Where are you today? And a lot of times I love when they say, I'm just coming here to move. And it's so true. Like sometimes like you just have to come in to move. And there have been many times even, where I don't do all 27 of the deadlifts I'm supposed to do. And maybe I don't do all 5 rounds that I'm supposed to do, but I'm still doing it. I'm still moving. I'm still coming in.
Yeah, and that's what really matters.
And that's what really matters, And again, too, keeping that accountability. Like if you are pushing yourself too hard, then you can't maintain your commitment to your fitness. And so that's a big part of it too. Yeah.
Well, awesome, Ellie. Congratulations again for being the member of the month. And then hopefully the people got to know about you a little bit more and everything like that. But
and thanks for all the coaches that nominated me. I'm really excited.
Oh yeah. It was unanimous. Everyone was
unanimous. Wow. Okay.
But again, Ellie, congratulations.
Thanks.
And thank you. Yeah.